Hello console sans packaging enthusiasts, and welcome back to Retro Game Unboxing. This week we're concentrating on the box of Retro Game Unboxing, and I've got this absolutely beat up Xbox 360 box from 2010, I think. It's got chunks out of it, it's got dirty patches, it's got tears, it has got a nasty layer of yuck over it, and it's basically falling to pieces. Now you're thinking, Ben, which is my name, why would you keep this? Why don't you just throw it in the landfill because it's rubbish? Because it's not. You can repair cardboard, and I've been repairing cardboard for years, so I am going to take this box with its little scuffs and dents and foxing, as some people call it, and I am going to repair it using nothing but PVA glue and my wits. So PVA glue. I mean, this box is quite nice. You've got the interior box there to hold the whole thing together. We'll give that a wipe out later on. But without that, it's been squished. It's been bumped. It's got weird bowing at the front. Yeah, it's got some really dodgy corners. Some of the flaps seem all right, and it's been folded up correctly. So hopefully we can do something with this. Right. We start off by actually unfolding this thing, and there's no tape, which is lovely, and there's no staples. Microsoft did a really good job with these consoles. They made everything sort of cardboard and foldable. Way before people were told basically you had to recycle everything, they were on it. So, yeah, everything just folds out carefully. Now I'm going to try not to cause any more damage than I can because this thing is getting on a bit, and cardboard doesn't age particularly well. So yeah, I mean, look at that. That is, most of the seams in this have seen better days. Fold it out. There we go. And yeah, there's some damage on the back as well, but that's all going to be inside. So I think we're going to concentrate on the front first of all. Get that looking nice. Just work out how this thing folds. There we go. I mean, this thing ain't too bad. It just needs a bit of TLC and some glue and tape, I feel. Tape on the inside, of course. You don't want tape on the outside because that would just look awful. Yep. This is okay. I mean, I've given it a good wipe with a wet cloth beforehand, then a dry cloth to basically get rid of any moisture. So we've got rid of most of the dust and the brick dust. This thing was in an attic. And so, yeah, it got brick dust on it and all kinds of nastiness. So we take some baking paper or baking parchment if you shop at Waitrose or the equivalent. Tear this off. We're going to use this as kind of a heat mask because we're going to get an iron on this thing and we're going to iron out all the creases and stop it bulging because it's got some water damage which has made the front and the sides bulge out a little bit and it doesn't look particularly good. And yeah, the baking parchment will just protect it from the heat. It transfers the heat through, but means you can't actually burn the cardboard. There we go. We've got a steam iron. I'm not going to be using the steam particularly because it's not too bad. Sometimes if there's real bulging, I can use steam and make sure that it treats it a bit. But I think in this case, we can just use it for just flattening it out. It's up to temperature. And yep, just broad, strong strokes all over this thing. The baking parchment itself won't burn, so you can heat it up quite a lot without it having to worry about it causing damage. And it just protects the cardboard underneath. And we're going to basically go all over this thing and get rid of all of the creases and the bowing. Now, while you're doing this, any moisture which is in the cardboard will basically vaporize and turn to steam. And also you'll get terrible smell of that damp cardboard. Don't worry, there's nothing burning. It's just purely all the moisture and anything that's grown inside this cardboard, because stuff will grow inside it. Just basically being woken up by the heat, and you get a lovely smell of like mold. So what I'd recommend is, if it's a bit damp and moldy, maybe wear a face mask and some gloves as well. Always a good idea. This was quite dry, this, because it was a dry attic, so I'm not too worried about that on this occasion. But yeah, if you're dealing with mold or wet, make sure you wear gloves and a mask. I'm just being careful not to damage it any further by catching any of the torn corners, but I say the baking parchment will help with that as well. Yep, it all seems absolutely fine. We've flattened it down. Now we need to apply some glue. So we're going to put it here, here, and all on the seams anywhere where there are tears. Here as well is quite a bit of damage. So we are going to use PVA glue. It's a water-based kids glue, so you've got no worries about smell. It's just play glue. Just pour a bit out on this bit of card, and we're going to start spreading it around. So I've got a fairly thick paintbrush here, and we're just going to go underneath all of these cracks and all of these tears and get a load of glue in there. Now this stuff is great. It's not solvent-based, it's water-based. It will adhere most cardboard together, whether it is flat sort of matte cardboard or whether it's shiny cardboard. I'm going to be going on the flat matte cardboard because that's where it's all torn, and try not to get on the outside, but you can easily wipe it off if you spill it. It's not going to cause any damage, and it dries translucent. So if you do get any on the outside, you won't be able to see it unless you sort of look very, very carefully. So yeah, this stuff is absolutely great for repairing cardboard and paper. Just get that, squidge it all down. It takes about 20 minutes to dry, but if you're doing it inside stuff, it can take up to 14, 15 hours. So what I'm going to do is, once I have glued it down and put all the glue in, I'm going to use painter's tape, or masking tape as we call it. I'm going to put that over it, and that will hold it down there. It won't stick to the PVA glue, which is nice. So basically, you don't have to worry about it sticking to the cardboard itself, but it will hold it together. So it will keep it squidged so that when it dries, it dries back to what it used to be. One nice layer of cardboard, as opposed to all these splitting layers which you've got at the moment. Just be careful when you're peeling it off, because you don't want to peel off anything which is stuck to the tape. Go, just stick it down, and yeah, stick it down tight, and when that glue is dried, you can then remove the tape, and it should all be nice and flat. Now I've got a tear here as well, so yeah, just lifting it up carefully without bending it. Just be careful you don't add any more creases, but you should be able to lift it up and get in there with your paintbrush and the glue. There we go, all the way up to the edges. Just squidge it around. Then hold it flat. Just tuck that back under there. There we go. Make sure it's all lined up. Get any tabs or any bits sticking up stuck down. Just wipe anything off which has gone squidged out with your fingers. And then some painter's tape over the top. We'll hold it together, and then you just wait for that to dry. I'm also going to just put a little bit into that dent there. It'll dry translucent, but it just means that it'll cover the dent, and I can paint over it later. And with a child's wet wipe, these things are great because they're designed basically to touch children's skin. So it's basically very, very kind and very, very mellow, so it won't damage the cardboard. Just get a wet wipe and just remove any bits of dirt and grime which you missed when you first wiped down the cardboard earlier. And there's a few bits and pieces here. So yeah, once again, quick wet wipe and get rid of any excess dirt or dust. There's a few scratches here as well. A lot of the dirt's got down to the scratches. There's not a lot you can do about those. except maybe use a little bit of paint later, but we'll look at that later on. In the meantime, just get rid of all this last bits of dirt and debris. And here we go. That's all done. Now you can, if you're lucky, peel it off and not have too many issues. However, I'll show you a trick in a second, which I do usually. I'll show you what happens if you don't do it. Just be very, very careful and just peel it off gently, but you are risking it getting stuck on cardboard. As you'll see here, you peel it off very, very carefully, but you do sometimes, like there, oh, you get a little tear, which you don't want. I'll just carefully tear it, put it the other way, and that should be fine. Just very carefully. There we go. And then you can remove it without damaging the cardboard. And there we go. And that's nice and flat. I may have to go that again with some glue just to stick it down. But on this one, just a hot hairdryer. Just heat up the tape and the glue will melt under it, and you can peel it back and it comes straight off with no issues whatsoever. Apologies for getting the hairdryer in the way here. I was filming at the wrong angle, but you can see it just peels straight off with no issues whatsoever. And of course, the hairdryer won't melt the PVA glue because PVA isn't heat activated. PVA is water based. So you can basically heat it up and not have to worry about damaging the work you've done with the glue. It will just mean you can remove the tape very simply like this. I'm barely putting any stress on that whatsoever. I'm just lifting it slowly and it comes straight off. All the way up to the top. And that's done. And yet that's all come off nice and flat. And there we go. That's gone quite nicely. I mean, if you bend it, it's going to crack a little bit. But when we put the box back together, we can put some more PVA glue on there and that'll all dry. And then you can basically leave it in its box shape. And you don't have to worry about cracking because you're not going to open it up again. Yeah, this has come off very, very nicely. The tears have now gone and all the cardboard is no longer splitting and it's all being glued back into one piece of cardboard and all the layers have been sort of melded together. Right, on the other side, you can see there's damage as well. I am not going to use glue on this side because I've already glued the other side and there's no point because you're not going to be able to see this. So what I am going to use is this. It looks like painter's tape, but actually it's mounting tape used basically by framers, people who basically put pictures in frames. It's extremely sticky tape. You can put it on cardboard and it will hold it together indefinitely. So yeah, I'm going to use that inside because no one's going to see it, and it will mean that you can bend the cardboard without worrying about it tearing. And that stuff is really, really good for if you want to stick cardboard together but not actually see it. This stuff is great. So that's going to hold it together on the inside and the glue will keep it together on the outside. Just get it all on there and squidge it down so that it's in all the cracks, and that will make a nice, there we go. It makes it bend like a book basically, and you don't have to worry about it tearing too much. And with that done, let's reassemble this. Now, can I remember how this actually goes together? Right, that goes around there, that goes there, and that folds over to hold it in place. Then we bring the top round, tack that tab in there. There we go, and then we fold the tab underneath there. And we do the same at the top. And then it's back to its box shape. And that's that part done. You can still see where the cardboard has been glued together because, yeah, it's going to show the underside cardboard because a lot of the top has flaked off, but it's made it rigid, it's making it a lot more stronger, and the box is no longer bowing. It is now box shape and there is no issue with it. It's not going to tear anymore, but you can still see the little tears and the little cracks in it. So we move on to the next stage, where we're going to apply some white paint and just go over the cracks so they don't show up quite as badly. You can also go over the back with orange paint if you feel like it, but we're not going to do that in this particular video because this is about getting a box back to normal. I'm going to get arty later on it. And with the box folded back to box shape, we're going to move on to stage 2, where we get the glue again, and we are going to adhere all of the bits which didn't stick or have broken free when we folded it back. So yep, just get in there with the glue and cover it liberally over the top, then give it a wipe to make sure it doesn't clump too much. Just basically the glue will seal all these corners up, so just get in there with the glue, and then when it is dry, put some painter's tape over the top, and that will hold it together like we did earlier. And then I'm going to do the same thing over the top with the cracks, because we want to seal those up. Just put the glue over the top, get all the glue in there, and then give it a quick wipe. That's getting all the cracks there, just to make sure that seals. Get rid of any excess. Once you have got it right down in that crack, give it a wipe. There you go, like that. And that will dry translucent and it'll make a nice film over it so it will stay in place. And we're going to do the same in the top corner here as well. Just sealing up any of this sort of like ragged cardboard so that it sort of soaks in and then seals that tear. As I say, once that's done, we'll put some painter's tape over it like we did last time, and that will hold it all together while it dries. Now the tab here is also splitting together, so it's splitting apart horribly. So yeah, I'm going to get in there with glue again, and I'm going to get every single layer I can and soak it with glue, stick it back together, and then that will dry into one piece of cardboard again. It will never be sort of like the corrugated cardboard it used to be, but you can make it into one nice lump of cardboard just so it sticks together and sits there nicely and actually works as cardboard should. And yeah, I'm going to apply some more glue here while I'm here because that's still splitting. And I'll put some painter's tape over the top, and that should dry quite nice and solid. And a few hours later, you can see this has dried nice and solid, and that's now one piece of cardboard. That's going to be tucked inside so you won't see it, but it's now going to function correctly. And yeah, the corner there is all nicely glued together, so that's now not going to tear anymore, and that's all held together. You can still see it because, as I say, you can still see the cardboard underneath. But the next stage, we're going to put some paint on this just to cover it up and get rid of that nasty brown packaging. And you can actually then, it's never going to basically look perfect, but you can mask it a bit so you can't see all the tears. Yeah, this one here, that's going to need some more glue and basically some more tape. This corner here has come much more nicely, and yeah, I'm going to put some more glue on the edge of that tab as well and glue that back together. It's all basically stages, just keep going over and over, rinse and repeat until you're happy with the result and everything is glued together. Next stage, some white acrylic paint. And you can get much more white paint than this. You can get it so it absolutely matches perfectly. I'm just going to basically use this one to basically show you how it's done. If you wanted to do this perfectly, you'd find one which matched the white exactly, and you'd then basically paint that on. And you might even use a top coat as well, just so that it's a little bit more yellow, so that it matches in with the rest of the yellow cardboard. But this is just a demo to show you what you can do. So yeah, we're going to use this nice white paint just to cover up all the tears and all these bits, which basically you can still see the underlying brown cardboard, which where the top has flaked away. And yeah, we're going to go over here and we're going to cover up this crack as well. Get it all inside. And yeah, if I was doing a proper job here, this is just to demonstrate, I'd probably go back over there with glue again and just stick that little bit down. But I think we can afford to ignore that with this test. This box is never going to be perfect, but it's good to do a demo on. So yeah, I'm getting right in there with the paint and just covering up any brown card that you can see. And then you can go over there with some slightly more dirty paint if you want to get it to match in with the rest of the cardboard. But it depends how good a job you are planning to do. you can be as neat as you want. Right, now this section here has got quite a bit of brown cardboard showing, as you can see. So yeah, we're going to get some more acrylic paint, and we're just going to get in there and cover that up with the white. The paint will also help seal the cardboard as well, so no more moisture will get in there and it won't tear anymore. And with that done, the box is looking a heck of a lot nicer. The dents and the tears have all been repaired. The box is a lot more stable. It's not bowing out the front. The yellowing has gone where we've cleaned it off nicely with some nice soapy water. The cracks and dents have been filled with PVA glue, and the front and sides are no longer bulging out and torn. I mean, you could do a good job with the artwork there. Get some oil paint or some acrylic paints, and you can probably make that picture of Master Chief there look a little bit better if you get the right shades just in the corners. But so I'm not making this perfect. I'm just demonstrating what you can do with a bit of time, patience, glue, and paint. And yeah, this is looking so much better. It smells a whole lot better as well. No longer that damp smell. So yeah, this looks good. I mean, if you wanted to, you could have ironed this a whole lot more, got a steam iron involved and made it make a little bit damp, and then make sure it gets dried out by ironing it again. That makes it even flatter. You could glue the corners even more and go over it 3 or 4 times with some PVA glue. But yeah, I'm very happy with this and I love the way it's turned out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.